Live streaming is on.
Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to the Beyond Bitcoin show. Today is April the 11th, 2020, the fourth night of Passover. Strong hand, long-term thinking. Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. Unconfiscatable. Personal responsibility is a new counterculture. Deferral of gratification. Golden age. Okay, strive for greatness, people. Welcome. I'm back, dudes. Hello, my elite friends. If you've got questions, I've got answers. Ask some questions over there. Get my attention somehow. Type in my name. I'll see ya. All right. I want everyone to check out the links below. Of course. This Week in Bitcoin was taped, but you saw it on Friday. And Mauricio, Eugene from Belarus, and Anita, she made her return. They were in the show. They were in motion. Check that out. Okay, so let's go beyond Bitcoin now, all right? Remember, disruptmeister.com, hungrymeister.com, sportsmeister.com, techbalt, TECHBALT on Twitter. That's how you can stay in touch. No matter what platform I'm on, you're going to be able to find me those ways. It's easy. All right. For the 20%ers, it's easy at least. There's some people that's difficult. They don't have listening comprehension. You know how it goes. You know how it goes around here. All right. So pay attention. Remember, part of the show is that you look at the links. That's you get a better understanding of the world if you check out the links below. All right. BitcoinToTheMoon.com. Thank you for this awesome shirt. All right. So orange juice sales are soaring during the pandemic, according to CNN. Now, let me tell you something. Some people think, well, I'll get my vitamin C that way. It'll make me healthy. Dudes, orange juice, get the real thing. What? The juice is sugar. It's sugar. And some of it's got added sugar. Get the real thing. The orange. I'm going to eat this tomorrow. This orange. But yeah, I'm not saying get vitamin C. Vitamin C is great. Have an orange. But the orange juice, dudes, it's soaring. People are just copying one another. They're not thinking. Dudes, no, you don't need OJ. Get the real thing and just eat healthy. Juices, I only have water. People know that. There's your health tip, one of your health tips of the day. I only drink water. I don't need that sugar-filled stuff. And some people are going, I like the freshly squeezed orange juice. All right, well, squeeze your own orange. Get the pulp in there and stuff. Dude, if it's processed, it's going to be like sugar, spike in your blood sugar. You don't need that. You don't need that. But hey, the 80%ers think that's what's going to make them healthy. You know, it's going to make you fat a lot of the time if you're drinking juices all day, okay? And they even say in the article that people cut down on juices recently before this pandemic because they figured out the juices aren't that great. They aren't that great. All right. Now, something else that people are talking about that supposedly isn't very great, and I realized, oh my God, I have actually been to a wet market before. I've been to a few wet markets before. A lot of people are saying that the wet markets are home of disease, and this is where the COVID, the coronavirus originated, and then some people are saying it originated somewhere else. Whatever the case, people are vilifying these wet markets in China, okay? And I've never been to China, but I've been to Hong Kong, and I've been to Taipei in Taiwan, and I've been to Busan in South Korea. Now, in Busan, I am not sure if that can be officially classified as a wet market, okay? And Derek said, ever been to Pike Place in Seattle? Yes, I have. Now, that's different than these places. When they're throwing the fish around, that gets pretty wet there, okay? That gets pretty wet. But like in Hong Kong, I was at the wholesale fish market in Hong Kong, okay? And literally there are boats that are pulling up the piers. I was there like at 5 a.m. in the morning, really early in the morning. The earlier you get there, the better deals you get, okay? And dude, it's like the 1920s there almost. Like hardcore dudes pulling up in wooden boats, throwing live fish in carts onto the side, then people chopping them up, then people putting them into tanks. I saw one dude, and I think I mentioned this on the show before, talking about sanitary conditions. I saw one guy off his boat. He's just urinating right off of his boat back into the water again. But you don't really see that in America too often. You don't see that at Pike's Place in Seattle, at Pike Place in Seattle, I'll tell you that. But Pike Place isn't really a wet market. But, okay, so there's a lot at the wholesale fish market in Hong Kong. Let me get the name of it again. I lost my where it was. Okay, so I linked to an NPR article that obviously vilifies them, and the Hong Kong one was definitely the most hardcore because you had the guy urinating off the boat. You had a lot of live animals there that, well, they weren't fish. They had frogs. They had turtles, which can be filthy. But they didn't have like bats or any they didn't have any mammals that were alive. I mean, they had chickens that were dead, and and I think they had meat there. There were different markets there that had pig and maybe at that wet. So it's wet. It is really wet though. I mean, first of all, it's pouring rain because I was there in July, but because the fish are jumping out of the tanks. I took a picture, and I took a picture of a snakehead tank, and one of the snakeheads had jumped out of the tank and was just walking around or rolling around on the ground, and the woman wasn't doing anything. She didn't care. So I took a picture, and that's the picture that's used as the thumbnail for this very show. And she started screaming at me and said she was going to call the police. And then I walked away because I didn't want her to call the Chinese police because China is owned by Hong Kong now. But I did get that. I don't know. I mean, she was yelling at me and stuff. She didn't like that picture, but you get to see that picture. And so it can be pretty wacky at these places. Now, are there filthier places in America? Yeah, there are filthier places in America. Now, do some of the wet markets in mainland China, are they worse? Probably. They've got other live animals at them. And the problem is like, if you start like getting the turtles, I'm not down with the turtles. Obviously, I'm not down with the turtles. That is pretty filthy there, what they had. But they didn't have bats and rats and dogs or anything like that. Because if you start mixing all of these animals together and putting them in tight quarters, and their blood is getting everywhere and their guts are getting on top, then you're mixing things up, and you could get some new type of virus that's quite dangerous, okay? But there are a lot of people that are just screaming, shut down the wet market, shut down the wet markets. I mean, again, I've been the one in Hong Kong. There's obviously different levels of wet markets. Maybe you should say, China dudes, if you're the exotic animal ones, you probably should think twice about having those, okay? And the dogs and the cats. And again, they really do. In some parts in Wuhan, there's pictures of the dogs that they sell, that they raise to be. And, that's a matter of taste. It's a matter of culture. But the bats that's again, I don't know if they actually sell bats at these. There's different rumors. I never saw a bat in Hong Kong. In Taiwan, it was not as crazy as Hong Kong. I'll say that. There weren't boats coming. There were trucks coming up and dumping out all sorts of food and fish and whatnot. So Changsha Wholesale Fish Market was in Hong Kong, and that was July 2017. Busan, South Korea was the Jaggalchi Market, and that probably isn't considered a wet market, although there were live fish there, and water was getting splashed everywhere and everything. So there's my story. So again, a lot of these things can get blown out of proportion. I haven't been to China. I haven't seen how disgusting they can get in mainland China. But I did see it's pretty raw there at that one in Hong Kong, Changsha Wholesale. But would I discourage you from eating food from the Changsha Wholesale Fish Market in Hong Kong? Heck no, because I sure did. Didn't do anything to me. Yeah, I even ate a frog from there. Yes, I did. I tried. It tastes like chicken. Tastes like I needed, when in Rome, why not try it out? So I tried out a frog. I would not eat a turtle, though. I would not do that. But they did have live frogs there. They definitely were alive. And the turtles were alive also. Yeah. Now, I didn't eat a living frog. Mine was, but they come there alive, as do the fish arrive there alive. Very fresh, no doubt. And they had regular, right next to the wholesale fish market was the wholesale fruit market, which had more than fruit, from what I recall. Really, I recommend it to people. Get there 5:30 in the morning, 6 in the morning. It's a crazy scene. It's just, you see these dudes working so hard and then urinating off the boat too. All right, pound that like button. Now, Drudge report. My Lord. There's a lot of conservative people like the Drudge report. And I just got to say, I read the Drudge report. I read Fox News, CNN, just to get a feel of what's going on out there, okay, in the mainstream. Drudge isn't exactly mainstream, but their headlines, the headlines he's putting up there are worse than the ones at CNN. I'm sorry. It's true. They're more hysterical. They're fake, more fake news than what's at CNN. That can, regarding the virus, the coronavirus, what he's putting out up there it's nonsense. A lot of it is, and if you actually click on the articles, you'll see that the headlines are totally clickbait. What's in the headline isn't even in what's in the story. And he is no shame, the headlines that he's putting up there, and it's causing people to be hysterical. So for the people that are trying to say, well, it's all the righties, all the people on the right, they don't believe that the virus is real. No. There's plenty of people on the right that are just as hysterical. And my nose got a little itch there. Hang on a second. Gotta do something. Woo-hoo! That tickles, doesn't it? Woo! All right. Yeah, there's hysterical people on the right too. Drudge, I don't know what he's trying to do. He wants attention. He's got an ulterior motive. He wants to bring down the government. I have no idea, but it's more ridiculous than what's at CNN, and that says a lot. Check it out for yourselves, dude. Check it out for yourself. Compare CNN.com headlines to Drudge Report headlines. It's unbelievable. Hey, speaking of unbelievable, I've got this ginger here. Ginger. Smells so nice. And you cut some of this stuff, you put it under your armpits. Oh yeah, there's your health tip of the day. It smells real, and it works. And it's natural. And as all of you know, I put baking soda under there. I'll put ginger under there. I'll put coconut oil under there. I smell like a real freaking man. Pound that. Like I am a real freaking man. Unlike all these hysterical people out there. I get so many people remind me. They're like, dude, I have learned so much about people during this virus, about how they can panic, how they are hysterical, even in the Bitcoin realm. It's unbelievable. Guys that you thought weren't statists are. Well, anyway, going back to the ginger, it works. It's cheap. I haven't put regular deodorant on since 2014. It's poisonous, man. It probably causes cancer and stuff. Who knows? It's chemical. It's blue. Speed stick, man. It's green. It's blue. It's red. It's antiperspirant. Come on, man. And people are wondering why is everyone getting all these diseases and stuff like they didn't used to? That stuff is really some unnatural. Whew. All right, so this is natural. All right, ginger. Pound it. Now, Melinda Gates. Now, I'm not going to get into the Bill Gates conspiracy theories here. She's obviously a very wealthy woman, lives in her own little world. She can be as paranoid as she wants to be. And she says, this is not a once-in-a-century pandemic. We will absolutely have more of these. I agree, we'll have more of these. We'll have more viruses come to America from foreign countries, as we've had in the past. But this time, we blew it out of freaking proportion to an incredible level. So she's saying, yeah, we're going to have this again. So let's blow this out of proportion again. This is the war on hope. This is spreading fear instead of good news. This is what she's up to. Now, I don't know why she's into this. Maybe, for power, for clout. I don't know. Maybe she's just a very negative person. But this has been blown out of proportion by so much. So much. When you see the final numbers, when you see the final death toll, when you see that the mitigation, that all this locking down people didn't do anything to the curve. It was already flattening. The curve was flattening beforehand. Karl Denninger has proof. I'll link to that. That's linked to below also. So people are already laying the groundwork for this is going to happen again. We have to get used to it. There goes privacy. Now, maybe that's what she's interested in. She wants to sell some products which, track people. Maybe she's into that. I don't know. But I'm just going to say to her that no, that, and I will say this, we're going to have something worse than this one day, okay? We are going to have something worse than this one day. There's no doubt about that, okay? I think we'll be definitely better prepared. I don't think we'll have to lock down the whole world then either. I think there might be this might be an overreaction to that also. But what we're having this year, we're going to have again, okay? And we shouldn't spaz out next time, but she's going to want you to spaz out. So, hey, people are laying the groundwork already. Everyone's trying to get their piece of the pie now, trying to profit off of this thing, which clearly shows you that it's not that serious. All right, so hydroxychloroquine, it works, okay? It works. Washington Kirkland Nursing Home, no hydroxychloroquine, 35 deaths out of 120 residents. Texas Nursing Home, treatment with hydroxychloroquine, 1 death out of 135 residents. That's from James Tudor. All right. Again, it's not a scientific study, but we're hearing more and more about this. But what AOL writes about, or what's AOL? That's what's that woman? I forgot her damn name, but they write about Melinda Gates and how there's no hope. There's no hope, and we're gonna have to live through this again. That's what she says. And then in reality, this hydroxychloroquine is saving the old people, the people in nursing homes. And that is a major vector for this. In some states or areas, 45% of the deaths are coming from nursing homes, or 35%. It's insane. This is not a disease that young people should be worried about. They should be locking down nursing homes, okay? That has nothing to do with 27-year-olds, okay? Unless you work at the nursing home, okay? But your average 27-year-old, what's it got to do with them? That 45% of deaths or something insane like that are coming from nursing homes. Nursing home is a major vector. It should be shut down. They should be shut down, locked up, hydroxychloroquine, all sorts of things. If you're having a virus outbreak, you hit the vectors. You don't imprison the entire country. You hit the vectors. All right. Now, I was thinking, we're going to have future in-person events again. Now, people are scared about that. I'm going to say right now, if you say right now out loud, I am going to a baseball game. I don't care. I'm going to a football game. I'm going to a Bitcoin gathering in the future, the first one there is. That is an act of defiance, okay? Because there are going to be so many scaredy cats out there. Oh, I don't want to do that anymore. Dudes, there's nothing wrong with that stuff. Let's get these Bitcoin meetups going again, okay? At ASAP. Let's get the Baltimore Orioles playing again. Not in freaking Arizona or Florida, but in Baltimore, at Camden Yards, with normal people going to the game and enjoying themselves. Dude, this thing is being spread so much by fecal oral transmission, okay? By in nursing homes, which are filthy, in hospitals, which are filthy. There are plenty of these hospitals that are taking all sorts of precautions against it spreading through people coughing, okay? They're wearing hazmat suits and everything, but they're not taking precautions. And Karl Denninger has written about this, I think, today on Market Ticker. They're not taking precautions at all against fecal oral transmission, and that's why it's still spreading in hospitals, okay? And spreading from workers that leave the hospital, get on the subway, and it's spreading that way. How deadly is it to the people who catch it outside the hospitals? Not deadly at all, hardly deadly at all. Much less than 0.1%, okay? Deadly among regular healthy people. And so you're saying, well, Adam, well, how about the unhealthy people? That's they got to take responsibility for themselves, okay? If you dumped your grandma off at the nursing home, that was your choice, okay? That was what you did. You didn't have to do that. You could have taken care of her so she wasn't around filthy workers and defecation and all this stuff, all right? You don't shut down the whole darn country because of nursing homes, all right? Or because of fecal to oral transmissions for filthy people, all right? We need to talk more. We've got people standing 6 feet apart everywhere, 26 feet apart everywhere, spreading rumors about runners can spread it in the air. But it's more easily spread by people who touch something that somebody touched that didn't, that touched their backside. All right. And it'll all come out. It'll all come out. You see, but guys like Karl Denninger are studying the statistics, and he has been talking about this, and I have been talking about this for months, the fecal oral transmission. So it's just, everyone is a slave out there who is so freaked out about like standing 6 feet away from everyone, and like that it's magically living in the air. And if you happen to get it, you're going to die. Okay. You probably already got it. That's the thing. That's the other thing that's out there, that the curve is already flattening, and was flattening when they already started these ridiculous rules in different states, in different countries. And they saw it was flattening soon after, and they still don't understand that people are going to say that these mitigations, that people staying home flattened the curve. It didn't. It did not. It was already flattening beforehand. This thing was around earlier than people thought. And it's just not as serious as the fear mongers are making it. They're making it scary for their own reasons. The media, you already know why. They got to sell. They want the clicks. They want the view. They want the blind people worshiping them, all right, and watching them. All right, so we talked about now speaking about running, I have a hilarious link below. It just says The Runner. And it's a guy running on a beach, and then I don't know if it's in the United States, and you see a cop chasing after him because you're not allowed to run on the beach all by yourself. And he puts it in the high gear, and he just blows this freaking cop away. It is so awesome. Defiance. Speaking of defiance, guys, did you watch my video that came on, what day did it? Thursday's video. It was Thursday's video. I scheduled it for Thursday. It's me outside on the streets of LA being defiant. You got to check it out. You got to check it out. It's hilarious. Again, disruptmeister.com. Everything is linked to below, all my recent videos. And now I'm finally live again for the first time since Wednesday, which is great. I had an interesting Passover. It's different doing it alone, but that's the way it is this year. May it never happen like that again. I'm going to read you something from the Haggadah. I was given a different Haggadah this year. They're all a little bit different. I'm used to the yellow one. I think the people in the Baltimore area know the yellow one. But this one is just, this is the Chabad one here. All right. But yeah, and the yellow one is not a Chabad one. I don't know. I don't know if everybody from Baltimore uses the yellow one, but people know the yellow one. All right. So what else do we have? All right. So people hooked on the mainstream news sources and mainstream TV and all that, they are totally seeing things different than people who actually take a time to click on Twitter links and listen to logic and reason and math-based arguments like Denninger, Karl Denninger and Market Ticker. Now, that's the thing. I have talked about this for quite some time. You can blindly be a slave to the algorithm, and you're just going to get caught up in that world, all right? And now, but if you actually take time to look at Twitter and actually click on the links, read the articles, you're going to see things from a completely different perspective, okay? You're actually learning. You're using reading comprehension. But unfortunately, the people in the bubble, the 20%er bubble, that actually take time to learn, to actually take time to do the math themselves, to do their own research, we're a minority, thus the name 20%er. And because there's so many people who say, oh, the world is waking up to the truth. No, the world isn't waking up to the truth. The world, more so than ever, is blindly picking their nose and watching CNN and ABC and Drudge Report and just repeating the hysterics, okay? That's what you're learning now. Seriously, that's what. If you think that most people are thinking like me right now, you are sadly mistaken. I mean, I wish that was the truth. I wish people actually had reading comprehension skills. People didn't blindly go to the next video that YouTube suggested. Okay, I wish that wasn't the case. That people just didn't sit at their home all day eating Cheetos, watching ABC. All right, I wish that wasn't the case. But don't fool yourselves just because you're in the bubble of 20%ers. And some of you aren't even. And it does tell. It does. You have to wonder about some of these Bitcoin guys. What are they really watching? What are they really reading here? And okay, so I mean, there are some Twitter people definitely that are outside the mainstream that have got caught up in hysterics also. Okay, that's true. That's a valid point. That's a valid point. All right, let me see. Let me see if there were questions here. All right, we got someone had a smiley face. Derek said, virus is only transmitting by orifices, not by sneezes or coughs. I'm not saying only. I'm not saying only, dude. Not only. No, not only. I mean, if someone sneezes and coughs on you and they're sick as a dog, that's not good. But I mean, if someone sneezes somewhere and you're on a beach and then you walk by a half hour later, no, I don't think that's I don't think it's a problem there. All right, Derek said, did you see the New York mayor saying he was allowed to go to the gym and others can't? I read about that. That was like, I think that was 2 weeks ago or whatever. If I ever see de Blasio, I like turn that off. I mean, come on now. He's a very tall man. If he would have won the presidency, he would have been the tallest president ever, I believe. There's a little. Drudge needs to work on the UX, Derek says. Derek, I'm going to have to disagree with you. I like their 1996 style. I keep it no fancy sensor graphics. Pound that like button, baby. I like the no fancy. Now again, the clickbait. No, I disagree with the clickbait. But all right, all right. Thank you, Derek, for the questions. All right, Barefoot Barry's in the house. What's up in New Zealand, brother? Can't wait to get back there one day in the future. I will get back down under. I mean, I still want to get to Australia in October and November, but Australia's they're in hysterics. We'll see. We'll see if people learn. All right, Guy Bennett in the house. He says, even the government is surprised at how easily they shut down the economy and people did as they were told. Oh, isn't that sick? The next lie will be even more outrageous. We are sheep. Well, I won't say we are sheep, but the majority of people are freaking sheep out there. They are haters. They are doomers. What are they going to do, man? I mean, that's just the world. That's the world of today. I don't know. I mean, they want to live in panic. They're so comfortable. They want to have a World War II moment. This is our World War II. I mean, that's what you're aiming for in life, dude. You want to be able to say that? Come on, dude. This is the golden age. Being freaking in motion, dude. Let's get back to freaking work. I mean, I've been in work. Nothing's changed for me at all, baby. Nothing's changed for me at all. But a lot of people, it's not that easy for them. And I'm not a dude that goes to restaurants and stuff, but I can appreciate when they're there. Okay. People are being productive. That's not my thing. But for the government to say you can't have a restaurant, you can't have a bar, you can't have this now, it's ridiculous. They're not protecting anyone. They're not protecting anyone. All right. If they want to protect people, close down lock the people in the old people's homes and figure out what to do. Okay. But this is, hey man, 27-year-olds are in the freaking peak of their lives. They've already been asked to do way too much. This has been going on for over a month. I don't know how long. Depends where you are. 27-year-old to give up the prime of his freaking life so an 85-year-old can walk outside, maybe? And I mean, for a morbidly obese person to get fatter, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. The 27-year-old should be up in arms. Dude, I'm not even gonna. All right. Let's move on to. Hang on, I lost my little notepad here. All right, moving on. We talked about the runner. We talked about going to future events. Hey guys, tweet this thing out. There are still, there's plenty of people out there that are contacting me like, oh, I didn't know you had a backup YouTube channel. And they're contacting me on Twitter where like my pinned tweet is explaining what happened and that, you could watch me here. You can listen to me here. Again, and also at sportsmeister.com, I gave you because the podcast has been doing great. The audio podcast, I did an extra one over there, or 2 extra ones. You got some bonus over there, bonus material from Eugene, actually, who was a very interesting guest from a very interesting country, Belarus, which did not shut down. So you can listen to what Eugene has to say about what's been going on in Belarus if you go to sportsmeister.com. But on the This Week at Bitcoin show, he also talked about why the dictator of that country chose to go in this direction, most likely. And yeah, I talked about my outside video, which was awesome. And I'll actually tweet that out again. I've been on Twitter since Wednesday, so because of the Passover holiday, but I'll be tweeting some fun video clips out on that soon enough. Techbalt, TCHBLT. All right, so I talked about Karl Denninger. I linked to him showing that the spread was slowing before the lockdown, and that, again, the social distancing has not made a major difference at all, okay? All right? Something that I learned was, and thus we can all go back to work, all right? You can go back to work. If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. That's fine. That's fine. If that's your thing, all right? Wear a mask. That's great. And when I was I remember being in Japan in February of 2016, and I didn't know why the people were even wearing masks. I was like, are they sick, or what? Is there a disease going on? I just saw there were like quite a few people wearing masks. I would say 5% of the people were wearing masks then. It may be less. I don't know. It stuck out to me, and it was interesting. But do it, whatever. If you want to wear, I have not worn a mask at all. I haven't changed my life at all. Running is great. Hey, speaking of something I learned today, horse racing is still going on in some states in the United States. And there's no one watching it in person, but people are gambling on it. So, hey, look, horse racing, which is a dying industry, they're doing well off this, I guess. And everyone knows that where I'm from, Baltimore, is home of the Preakness. And something that for years, as a child, I would enjoy the Triple Crown races. And then as a teenager in early 20s, I attended the Preakness, the craziness, the drinking, the infield party, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, they've already delayed the Kentucky Derby until September. So that means the Preakness will also be delayed. That's a shame that people panic that much, but may it all come back soon. And dude, I'm not encouraging people to gamble, but I'm glad the horse racing industries is still somewhat open. And you don't have to, for you gambling addicts, you don't have to bet on soccer games in Belarus, I guess. You can bet on the horses. But no, what else I was going to say is when I think of horse racing, it was my father who got me into horse racing. And he would always watch the Triple Crown races just like me and tell me stories about the Secretariat and all that from back in the day. The crazy thing is my dad never attended a Preakness. He never went to a Preakness. He'd been to Pimlico plenty of times, and his father had been to Pimlico. And Pimlico has most of Pimlico hasn't been updated since my grandfather, Meister, went there probably in 1954. But that's a whole nother story. Anyway, there's a little horse racing. Beyond Bitcoin. Pound that like button. Pound that like button. So definitely 3 generations of Meisters been into horse racing. It's a Baltimore thing. All right, so I talked about Karl Denninger talking about I linked to the nursing homes and the hospitals are not taking proper precautions against the fecal matter spread of the virus, and that this is a major vector in terms of the spread of the virus. For all of you who are worried about the spread of the virus and old people dying, and old people are in nursing homes and hospitals are already compromised in many ways. And so they can get all sorts of things. You get all sorts of bad things in the hospital. So dudes, if you're young and you're healthy, dude, you're falling for it, basically, if you're panicking. Now, I'm going to say this. My grandmother, who is 97 years old, she is locked up in her condo. She's doing fine. And so I talked to my grandmother on the phone. First thing she says to me, Now, so what do you think? What if my grandma is in her condo? Okay, she walks the hall for her exercise. She talks on the phone to her, grandchildren and my mother and great grandchildren, I guess, get on the phone sometimes, maybe, and a cousin or whoever calls her, not friends. But what else is she going to do? She's going to read a book. What else? What else do you think my grandma is going to do? She's watching the freaking TV. Now, she says the TV is nonsense. She says she doesn't like the doom. She doesn't like the panic. But a 97-year-old woman, they like major in worrying, okay? She's like a master of worrying at this point. So she's watching TV. So what's the first, when we start talking about this on the phone, what do you think is the first thing grandma says? I can't stand Trump. She's watching TV. So this is what happens when you watch TV. What are they? Now, I don't watch TV. I don't watch TV at all. Now, I wouldn't fall for that stuff either. But she's an old woman who worries and such. And there are plenty of people like her that aren't 97, that are much younger, that are going to say the same exact thing. The same exact thing. This is what they get out of the whole thing. I can't stand Trump. That's how serious this disease is. That the mainstream media is trying to paint this as a political thing, and people are falling for it. My grandmother fell for it. A 97-year-old woman that worries all the time. I mean, you can't blame her, okay? But there's others. There's others that are going to fall for it. So I wanted to share that little bit of information with you. All right. Now, and another thing that Karl Denninger talks about. There's a lot of people out there that think we should all stay inside. And the reason we should stay inside is because it'll give them more time to develop a vaccine. They're not developing a vaccine. It's not going to happen. There's never been a vaccine for a coronavirus. And don't hold your breath, people. It's a false hope, and it doesn't really matter for this thing anyway. We don't need a vaccine. Just you'll get it. You probably won't know you get it. Then you won't get it again. It's not that deadly for healthy people. There you go. So get off that vaccine train, all right, dudes? And if for some reason they come up with a vaccine like faster than mankind has ever come up with a vaccine, I wouldn't be taking that darn thing. I've never taken a flu shot in my life, all right? So, I mean, if they come up with something they say is a vaccine, good luck. Good luck with that one. Personal responsibility is a new counterculture. There's a really big chance that you taking that thing is going to get you sicker than if you got the darn thing in the first place. But I'm still saying, don't even get your hopes up for that. Here's a tweet about the lovely people in San Francisco. There are more dogs than children in San Francisco. There you go. All right. That speaks loud and clear. Here. And so we're living through such an experiment now, an experiment that shouldn't be happening. Never have so many people all at once had to change their lifestyle so drastically. And it is making people mentally ill. It really is making people crazy. Okay? Just all of a sudden, their whole world has been turned upside down, and everyone around their's world has been turned upside down. They're living their life in a totally different way. It's causing people to act out upon people that are stuck with them, causing them never hitting another person. There's no excuse for it, okay? But it's happening. And here's a tweet by Michael J. Burry. There are reports of a surge in suspected child abuse cases in Texas. New York is seeing an uptick in domestic violence. Suicide hotline calls are up around the country. Dudes, this is causing people to go crazy, and it is causing more deaths and damage than the virus itself. It is worse than the virus itself. So get out there, speak loud and clear like I have been, literally out on the streets. Defiance over compliance. Keep going outside. You're not going to get, you don't have to be 26 feet away from a runner. You don't have to be 6 feet away from a runner. If you're scared, wear a mask, I guess. Wash your hands. Did you not wash your hands beforehand? So one of the people spreading fear and panic, and I think part of the reason he's personally scared, but he's all about building up his reputation and getting more Twitter followers. So some of this controversial stuff he says, he just wants attention. But he's a woman. I mean, he's scared. He's scared, and he shouldn't be scared. Scott Adams, And yeah, it's getting worse and worse over in his. Here's a great critique. Among millions of disappointments in the behavior of people through this, and thousands of tweets and hundreds of blue dots, Scott Adams ranks among the top of those who turn out to be as spooked as the herd and only serve to amplify the hysteria. Yeah, he's part of the herd. He's as scared as the herd, and he amplifies the hysteria. And so I am proud of the dudes out there who have been trying to say, you know what? This hysteria is ridiculous, even though someone that you might respect is amplifying it. And there's other guys out there that have been doing the same thing. And I think some of the people just want to be proven right. That, you know, I detected this disease before anyone else did. I knew it was in China in January, so it better be deadly. And I'll keep on scaring people about it just to remind them that I was right. That's sickening. All right. Hey, fitting in is overrated, guys. Be a unique beast. Now more than ever, be a freaking unique beast. Someone said people are bored and welcome the drama. Yep, that's another thing. So people are bored at their houses, so they want a soap opera on TV. So they're falling into the CNN trap and want it to be a political drama at the same time, to blame Trump and to swoon over Gavin Newsom. Ooh. All right, let us. We got Derek is saying things here. Roman Q is. Hang on, let's get back. Oh, Deep the Derp, Guy Bennett. Okay. Let me get to the questions here. We got a lot of questions. Derp the Derp says we are tripping here in Australia, dude. It's pretty bad. We became too reliant on China and too close to commie influence. I wish the Jewish community was outspoken on China-Germany similarities. Well, you know what? I wish the Jewish community was more outspoken about the comparison between what's going down with the fascist regime in the United States and the fascist regime in the 1940s in Germany. That's even more. I mean, that's even more pertinent to what's going on. Okay. Because people in the United States are calling for draconian Chinese measures, okay? And for people to be tracked and to be scared of a mysterious virus, to scapegoat a virus, all right? And I wish I wish all people. I'm not going to pick on the Jewish community. I'm part of the Jewish community, but you got a point here. The Jewish community is familiar with, very familiar with what fascist regimes lead to, with insane governments lead to. They should be saying, you know, what lockdowns lead to, what ghettoizing people leads to. Yeah, you got a point, man. All right. Less than Romy Q says less than 30 days until the halving. It's less than 30 days. Wow, time is running by. 4,432 blocks to go. Don't panic. Stack more Bitcoin. Definitely. No one's panicking, dude. And yeah, we got to get that halving hype going. It is a shame that this virus hysteria came about during the halving. I didn't predict that during the lead up to the halving. So this lead up to the halving was a lot different than the 2016 lead up to the halving. Yeah, but that's life, dudes. This is where the big boys play. So you got to deal with it. In the long run, though, 210,000 block theory. We'll talk more about that on our regular One Bitcoin show, which is every day of the week other than Friday and Saturday. And Derek said, I heard hospitals get money from the government for putting COVID on death certificates. Well, here's a good way of looking at it. People, apparently, if you die from COVID, the government will pay for it. So that's similar to what you said, all right? So, of course, the hospitals are more likely to put COVID on there because they're definitely going to get paid. If someone just dies of a heart attack, they're going to have to get that money, hope the person pays the bill, and then they're going to have to go through collection agencies if they don't. If they put COVID, I guess they can charge anything they want to because the government is going to pay for it. So very, very unfortunate. So that's another, again, the deaths, the COVID deaths are being pumped up. Not everyone who dies. You know, if you died of a heart attack at your house, and then when you get to the hospital, they figure out, oh, he also had COVID. No, COVID didn't kill you, okay? So they're exaggerating the COVID numbers. But even exaggerating the numbers, it's still not as serious as they make it out to be. All right, even with the fake numbers. So yeah, and yes, you're really tripping in Australia because you haven't even had that many cases. And Hass McCook was on the This Week in Bitcoin show last week and just said how compliant everyone was there. I mean, it was sickening. All right, we got Guy Bennett says, this 4 to 6 week lockdown is a great time for people to learn a new skill. Yes. Or a career field. Yes. Focus on ways to earn money from home during the next lockdown. Well, I hope to God there is not a next lockdown, but yes, people should be in motion. And this is not a time to be reading obsessively about the virus. It's a time to learn about Bitcoin. I mentioned that on another show recently, but thank you for that. All right. Web City, Web City, you're Jewish. Why did you say that? Why did you talk about the one that they say is the guy from the 1st century? Why do you mention him? All right, you're Jewish. Anyway, okay, so moving on. I mean, you could talk what you said about that guy from the 1st century. You shouldn't say that. All right. Now, that Jewish guy from the 1st century. Now, okay, we talked about Scott Adams. Fitting in is overrated. People were asking good questions. Thank you. I talked about you're only 27 once. Okay. And that it's a nursing home disease. All right, Udi in Israel. And I want to go to Israel this year too, but they're paranoid. There's nothing wrong about hoarding. Planning for your loved ones to be able to survive on their own for more than a week is not immoral. Suppliers can, should, and will adjust. You don't need to feel unsafe just because your government can't handle a little bit of stress. So, yeah, buy as much as what I mean. If you think you got to buy a lot of toilet paper, I guess go do it. But when I talk, people say, "What? Why are you hoarding the Bitcoin?" There's nothing wrong with saving. That's the way I put it. Okay, making saving cool again. Maybe people from this experience are going to learn why they should save, why they should prepare, why it's much better to have some money saved up. All right, why it's much better to have some chicken frozen in the freezer. Okay. So you don't have to go to the ridiculous supermarket and deal with the ridiculous people over there. Why there was nothing wrong in the past if you went to a BJ's wholesale club and you bought a 48 pack of toilet paper just for a rainy day. One thing about my dad, he always bought a lot of toilet paper. There was always a lot of toilet paper around the house. He prepared well for something. He wasn't around to see this. And I wouldn't want my dad to see other men panicking like this. It's a disgrace. But yeah, hoarding is all in the eyes of in the eye of a beholder. Okay, all right. And people have said you hoard your Bitcoin. No, I save my Bitcoin. You could say I hoard my Bitcoin. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with hoarding. Nothing wrong with hoarding. All right. And again, the supply will come up again. All right. It will meet the demand. Let the market work, dudes. Let the market work. But preparing it in hoarding in advance, ain't nothing wrong with that. What is this? Oh, Jack. We're going to talk about Jack. I'm moving the guy, Jack Dorsey. I'm moving $1 billion of my Square equity, 28% of my wealth, to Start Small LLC to fund global COVID-19 relief. After we disarm this pandemic, the focus will shift to girls' health and education and UBI. It will operate transparently, all flows tracked here. Okay, dude, you can do what you want to do with your money. I got no problem with that at all. Now, the thing is, people love him more for saying this stuff than for creating this incredible social media platform called Twitter. All right. Some people vilify him for, he's a billionaire. He made all this money off of Twitter. It's unfair, blah, 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 blah. But if he gives it all away, he's the biggest hero in the world. Now, also, he's clearly bought into this that we need to battle this thing. I mean, I think he's wasting a lot of his money if it's going to go to this COVID thing. But hey, it's his point. He can do what he wants to do. But just check out people's reaction to this. He's a Mother Teresa now. He's the greatest thing on earth. But what he contributed by creating Twitter is so much bigger than that. So much bigger than whatever he's doing to fit in with his $1 billion. And part of it is to fit in, definitely. I mean, all right. Fitting in is really overrated when you got to pay $1 billion to fit in. Here is something from Vivek for real. Vivek for real. He says, majority of universities are obsolete. Imagine someone paying 20,000 pounds a year in debt, and now they have to take online classes and realizing they can get this content, even better content, for literally free on YouTube. So this is really bad right now. If you're in college this semester, you're now taking all your classes online, but you're paying like $25,000. Yet you could be taking all the same stuff for free. It's all there on YouTube. And there's online universities already that give it away for free. And some of the universities that you're paying to attend now online, you can get for free. It is unbelievable. Wow. Does it suck to be in college right now? Because usually you can say, okay, I'm at a good university. I'm learning a lot. I'm pounding some women. I'm getting it's social stuff. I'm drinking and partying. But now you're stuck at your house and you're looking at YouTube stuff for just like I could do right now, or like anyone could learn online just like these dudes are, but they're paying for it. So it shows you how ridiculous paying for online, paying $25,000 for online education is. Paying $25,000 for in-your-face, in-person education, okay, you can argue because there's some really cool social aspects to it, okay? There's some network opportunities, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And again, I attended a good university, Washington University in St. Louis, and I had a blast. And so I can't say the people today, don't do that, although it costs an incredible amount of money. But if this happens again, where everybody has to spend the semester at their house, no, then it's ridiculous. It's totally ridiculous. And it's being proven so at this point. So, all right. Lots of newspapers are laying off people. I talked about this on my podcast version of the show. And they're stuck in an old revenue model for newspapers, okay? Newspapers are laying off people because businesses are closed and businesses can't pay to advertise in newspapers now, nor would they want to advertise in newspapers when they're closed. So the revenue model is totally unwinding. The traditional advertising model for newspapers, both online and print. Print newspapers, I don't know if they're going to come back the same way as they were in the past. So this is a time when they got to be in motion. I talked about the Steemit platform and platforms like it. Why not just go put your whole newspaper on Steemit? Tell all your viewers, hey, go to Steemit, upvote us. Yes, our new model is going to be no physical location. All our writers, type from home. No more unions. No more union paper. And we're going to hope that this cryptocurrency printed out of thin air will go up in value, and we'll be able to, and our writers will be able to be compensated that way, and we'll be able to be compensated that way. Why not try it out? It's the 2020s. It's the golden age. People believe in the dollar story. It's printed out of thin air. Steem is printed out of thin air. Now, again, I make Steem with my YouTube podcast. All right. Right now, this is on Steem. This is on Hive. I'm getting that free altcoin love. All right. Turn it into Bitcoin. Again, this is not an endorsement to say to buy that stuff, or these newspapers could make their own platforms. Okay. They could make their own Steemit platforms where they print their own cryptocurrency, or get in touch with Mark Zuckerberg. He could print their own cryptocurrency for them. They should think in this new way, that direction, get into the crypto world, get out of depending on bars and restaurants and hospitals advertising in your newspaper because they're not going to want to anymore. I mean, advertising agencies are going to be a thing of the past. Traditional advertising is going to be the thing of the past. Maybe this is something for where altcoins and Steemit type of platforms could take over. I don't care. I don't know. I care because I think people printing everyone should be able to make their own altcoin. I have no problem with that at all. Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. Let the altcoins be altcoins. Let them print them to oblivion, just like the dollars are. Let the altcoins print with compete with the dollar. All right, everybody. Be proud. Be a man. Give alternative solutions. This isn't about revenge. This isn't about scapegoating. This isn't about resentment. Let's move forward. Let's get people back to work, dudes. All right, so let me just make sure there were no other questions before I read from the Haggadah. And this Haggadah, again, is a little different than, so the quote will be a little bit different. I'm going to combine two different sections of the Haggadah here and when I read from the Haggadah. But there is a question. Derek says, do you think McAfee prediction comes true? I don't respect McAfee at all, and I don't know what prediction you're talking about because he's crazy and he always is changing his mind, and I ignore him totally. He's not a legitimate person in any space. He says things to get attention, and he's done a lot of drugs, and they've clearly affected his mind. He was a smart guy at one point, so I don't know about his predictions. All right, and I urge people to ignore him totally. I mean, or if you want some comedy, just understand what it is. All right. First of all, in the Haggadah right here, there is a line with a strong hand. Pound that like button. It says strong hand in the Haggadah. All right. This is what has stood by our fathers and us. For not just one alone has risen against us to destroy us, but in every generation they rise against us to destroy us. And the Holy One, blessed be he, saves us from their hand. Yes, that is conviction right there. They come to destroy us every generation. We have to be used to that. We will survive. You will survive. You may think you can give a reason for your survival. Here it says it is the Holy One, blessed be he. So I will leave you with this note. And this is how we conclude our Seder. Next year in Jerusalem. Pound that like button, guys. See you later.